Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our June Leadership Luncheon. We do have buffets set up on both sides of the dining room. So if you guys would all make your way to one side or the other and get your food, we'd appreciate it. Want to stay on time and make sure we have take full advantage of our program today.
Hello, everyone. Wanted to get this party started. So wanted to welcome everyone to this month's Greater Cheyenne Chamber of Commerce monthly meeting. My name is Stephen Fotates. I'm the incoming chair for the board. And wanted to say thanks everyone for coming out. We've got a fantastic group of people in person. So that's a win for sure. So today we're going to be celebrating the graduation of Leadership Cheyenne and got a great program to tie along with that. So really excited for it. Leadership Cheyenne's been in place for more than 35 years, which is quite incredible. They've put out over 900 graduates. So, a lot of leaders and pillars in our community. We're pleased to add 26 more alumni today, and we'll be doing that during our lunch program to honor all of their accomplishments. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of their accomplishments for the community in the future. We've got a lot of bright minds that are alumni and the class coming in. So really looking forward to that. I would like to recognize our presenting sponsor, MHP, who is a longstanding member and a great supporter of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm pleased to announce that we'll bring up Greg Vaughn to come forward and talk a little bit about his organization.
I'm Greg Vaughn. I'm a tax partner at MHP. We're very excited to be the presenting sponsor today. Leadership Cheyenne is an incredibly important activity that the Chamber puts on, and we really encourage our members to go through that program. I was a graduate in the 2017-2018 class, and many of our partners and managers have been part of that program. So we're very excited to have Jamie as a graduate today and another MHP alumnus of Leadership Cheyenne. It is interesting to be here without in person. We were just talking earlier today. I don't think I've been to an in-person chamber meeting since maybe November, December of 2019. COVID affected everyone, obviously, and our office was no different. It affects everyone just a little bit differently. With 2 extended tax seasons, we just finally got through tax season again. The CARES Act in between tax season, the American Rescue Plan, we're just constantly learning new things, and it's been crazy for us. So it is nice to be back in person at a chamber lunch. I'm really excited for them to give the accountants a break and not change anything act for 1 year, because it is getting ridiculous, but we all know that that's not going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see. So MHP is we're very proud to be a member of the Chamber. We know that without the support of the community and the Chamber, that we would not be where we are today. Many of you entrust us to help you with your businesses and your individual decisions out there. And we know that that is a very important thing to you, and it's very important to us. On your table, I think there's some fact sheets out there at the bottom of that fact sheet. If you are interested, you can get on our listserv as well. If you're ever wanting tax, accounting, financial updates on there, we put out things on a monthly basis. As they noted, we've been a proud member of the Chamber for a long time. We will be celebrating 21 years independently owned here pretty soon. Though we do have roots dating back to the 1930s, so we've been here for a long time. We did try to celebrate our 20th anniversary last year as best as we could, but with COVID, it's there's only so much you could do. So we did just celebrate 20 years last September, so we're excited about that. Cheyenne continues to be our home base, our home here, though we have expanded into Fort Collins, and that office continues to grow naturally as well. So we're very excited about that. Including partners, we have about 70 to 80 professionals in our office, so pretty good size accounting firm. And so but we are continuing to grow. So if you know anybody, we're always looking for more people. So send them our way. There's constant change going on in all industries. As we know, we have 3 partners retiring this year. And with that, we have 3 new partners coming in. So a lot of big change. So we have Jamie Liberty coming in as a partner, Stephanie Pickering, and Brittany Wilson. So we're really excited to have them come in as partners as of July 1. with all this change going on at MHP, we just want to let you know that we are committed to the values that we've always had. If you look at our website, you'll see our values say things like leadership, honesty, integrity, quality, fun. Not sure anyone's ever accused an accountant of being fun, but we have it on there. But most importantly is community stewardship. And that is what we've built our firm on. And we just want you to know that we'll continue to have that as the forefront of our values because it is very important to us. We appreciate everything the Chamber does and the opportunity to come speak today. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Greg. We certainly do appreciate your the membership of MHP as well. All righty, so I'd like to start with thanking our silver sponsor, iHeartMedia. Also like to appreciate or note the bronze sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming, we'll hold it till the end. Blue Federal Credit Union, Capital Roofing, Century 21 Bell Real Estate, Jonah Bank of Wyoming, Laramie County Community College, Meridian Trust Federal Credit Union, Visit Cheyenne, and Waihi Federal Credit Union. I'd now like to invite up Pat Ashworth, if anybody knows Pat, to come up and talk about Red Carpet Committee. And I guess he's a member of Red Carpet Committee. We're talking about the new members of the Chamber.
Good afternoon. I have to reiterate what these guys said about it is so nice to see so many smiling faces out there. I don't think it's going to be anything that I'll ever take for granted again. So thanks all for coming out. So again, my name is Pat Ashworth. I'm representing the Chamber Red Carpet Committee, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce 3 new members to the Chamber of Commerce. So let's start with introducing Rockbox Cheyenne Old Time Lane Fitness and owner Natalie Ernst. Natalie's philosophy is that fitness should enrich your life. It's important to enjoy and have fun in your training. It shouldn't feel like a chore, but a challenge for a healthy lifestyle. She has a bachelor's degree in nursing. She's also a certified personal and group trainer with 30 years of fitness and nutrition coach experience. Currently, she's working on a DNA-based fitness, including strength and corrective conditioning. Remember, you never regret a workout. Thanks for joining. Next, help me welcome JP Morgan Chase Bank, represented by Amanda Coletti, branch manager, and Jason Lees, private client banker. Chase is proud to announce a branch expansion here in Cheyenne. We're extremely excited about the opportunity to grow our presence, create jobs, and become a positive force for the community. At Chase, our mission is to create engaged, lifelong relationships. We put customers at the heart of everything we do. Welcome, Chase. And last, but certainly not least, please welcome Elevate Insurance and Marquise Green, owner agent. We strive to be a leading insurance company in our commitment to providing first-rate coverage and excellent customer service for our customers when life happens. Our portfolio of companies allows us to be competitive, and our technology keeps us innovative in order to provide customized solutions. As a Wyoming resident and military veteran, I'm proud to have the opportunity to serve our community. It's our hope that each stranger that walks through our door leaves as a friend. Welcome and thanks for your service. And once again, please welcome all our new members.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see everyone. I know they said that for MHP, your roots were in the 30s, but for Ken and Wayne and Rush, you guys weren't here in the 30s, were you? Not quite, or Ken was. They're all pointing at you, Wayne. We do thank you guys for your sponsorship. MHP has been a great contributor to the chamber. They sit on a bunch of our committees. Your partners have been our chairman over the years, so we appreciate that. We thank you guys. Well, welcome everyone. It's so good to see everyone on this beautiful Cheyenne day. I would like to tell you that we got a little spring, but I had my Carhartts on Sunday morning, and I just read Don Day's report, and we're going to have about 3 weeks of weather in the upper 80s and 90s. So quite a strong. Some of you are cheering, some of you are not cheering so much. Right. So, that is spring and summer in the Rocky Mountain West. We truly live in a blessed place with Mother Nature's beauty all around us. And we are fortunate to live in a state where business still thrives. And if you don't believe that, when I talk to chambers all over the country, I'm on a call a couple times a month with them. And I'm always so glad to be from Wyoming when I get finished with that call. Because not everybody has it as good as we do. So anytime we get to feeling sorry for ourselves, we should remember that we're pretty darn lucky. Just to bring you up to date on a couple of things going on. First thing, bring you up to date on a couple of things that have happened nationally. Those of you that have been following, we've been waiting for the president's skinny budget to come out. I know that excites some of you and others it horrifies, but for us, it's actually turned out pretty well. So one of the biggest questions I get is where's GBSD, the new missile system, and how's it faring with all of this? Proud to tell you that last week when that budget came out, GBSD is fully funded for the next few years. And there were even comments there from the administration giving a nod to how important the strategic deterrence mission that our men and women in uniform carry out at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. So we were very thrilled about that. Isn't that right, Conowitz and Chief? You guys, that's good. Yeah. I'll also tell you that we've been working on a maintenance facility for the Guard, vehicle maintenance facility for a few years. So 13 million is going forward for that facility. So that's also a good piece of news on something that we have been working on for the last few years. Another one that I get asked about all the time after it hit the paper was where we are with Front Range Rail. So I'll just give you an update on that. So from the president's budget, that is fully funded in the president's budget. So that puts us on a faster track to get Front Range Rail. So we'll be working with Congress to make sure that happens, but it looks like that Amtrak and some of those corridor initiatives will be priority for them in that funding. So we'll keep an eye on that. The other thing that we depend on for that is our partners to the south in Colorado. So several of you know that from the chamber, we serve on the Colorado Rail Commission, Front Range Rail Commission, and we work with that regularly. We help them. Actually, Kathy, you were missing, I think, the last time we talked about this, but we have a star lobbyist, Kathy Cathcart, right? So Kathy, I had to be gone one day, so I sent Kathy. I said, hey, do you want to go to Colorado and testify at their legislature on Front Range Rail? And she did, and it passed. So it finally passed today. So it's just waiting for the signature of the governor, and I'm sure that was all Kathy Cathcart's doing. So we appreciate that effort, but we need to work with our partners on these transportation issues. It's very important that we keep up with them and that we work for good things, because as the I-25 corridor goes and the Front Range goes, that's our economy too. So we need to make sure that we have healthy relationships and can work to make sure we maintain those over time. So I think that's kind of the big things that I have. We do have some activities coming up that I want to make you aware of. Though our annual banquet is a week from today. So hope all of you take an opportunity to join us. I think we still have a few seats left, although we are getting close to 600. So probably need to call quickly. It's always a great time. Really, at our annual banquet, we've turned it into a celebration of talent. And it really makes it a lot of fun to recognize the greatness in our community and the folks that are doing really good work. And we have a couple of business after hours this month, June 10th at High Country Industrial, June 17th at Papa Murphy's, and June 24th, Blue, you're finally going to get to do your open house that you had scheduled, what, for December, I think originally, and then January, and we're good now. And Michelle's here and you don't even have to wear a mask. That is awesome. We're good. Glad to see you. Our Partners in Prosperity Luncheon, of course, we'll do that as Frontier Days kicks off. Thank goodness, right? We get to do Frontier Days again. Everything's going to happen. Celebrate our community. I know some of you are a little bummed that you didn't get Garth Brooks tickets, but you know, you keep hoping. Maybe you can find a buddy for that. But we will do that on the 23rd, August 20th. We will do our trap shoot again. So please get signed up for all of those items. For those of you who are Wyoming business advocates, you know that we started flying to DC maybe 5-6 years ago. At the time, we were the only state in the union that didn't do a fly into Washington, DC from chambers and business organizations. We continue to do that. This year, we're going to move the date a little bit. October 26th through the 28th is when we're going to do that. So please take advantage of that. It's important to weigh in on these issues if we want to move our community forward. And with that, we'll do the free lunch drawing and 50-50 wrap. Our free lunch today goes to Hannah Lewis. So she's with Visit Cheyenne. See my staff afterwards and we'll get you. You don't have to come forward, just see our staff. And thank you guys for being here today. Dominic Bravo, who got the great honor of getting the job at Visit Cheyenne during COVID. He has done great work in our community. If you haven't paid attention to what Dominic and his team have done, it's been nothing short of amazing what they were able to pull off last summer with a small team. So Dominic, this whole community owes you a debt of gratitude for keeping those sales tax numbers up. We appreciate it very much. Thank you for all your hard work. Now, if you win this one, Hannah, you can come get your money. 383-5282. All right. Thank you, everyone. We got a great program today, so hope you enjoy it. Good to see everyone. If you have any needs, please call us at the chamber. Do our best to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. As always, there's a ton going on at the chamber and no end in sight. So keep up the good work. Perfect. Now I am honored to welcome Colonel Matt Dillo as our keynote speaker for today's luncheon. A little bit about Matt. And I say a little bit, because the list is long for sure. So Matt is the vice commander of the 20th Air Force. And as many of you may remember, he was also the vice commander of the 90th Missile Wing. Matt is the embodiment of a great leader. If you know Matt and his family, you would be impressed that their commitment to the service and of this country is heartfelt and people-centered for sure. Whether it's the military or the community, Matt's actions represent the servant leadership principles that the Greater Cheyenne Chamber of Commerce consistently strives for. Unfortunately, soon we are to lose Matt as a member of our military community. The good news is they've decided to stay and make Cheyenne home, a permanent home. So we look forward to working with Matt in his volunteer hours with the chamber and in many ways for years to come. Yeah, in short, Matt's a really good friend to us and to everyone here. And so we're pleased that he has agreed to take a few minutes and share with us a little bit about leadership. And so if everybody would give me a big warm welcome and welcoming Matt, Colonel Matt Dillo.
Weather was so nice on my walk in from the parking lot, my speech got shorter. So if anyone wants to protest, just let me know. From MHP, Greg Vaughn, right? So I used to work with his dad, so now I feel old. So he's running things over there. Yeah. As I said, it's a beautiful day to celebrate the graduation of Leadership Cheyenne class and to get together again in person, which is amazing. as far as Leadership Cheyenne goes, just a special shout out to FE Warren's own Colonel Carolyn Ammons, mission support. She's the mission support group commander out there. She does amazing work. She's an amazing officer and leader. And so she should be up there giving this speech probably. When Charlene called and asked me to speak a little bit, I was a little perplexed. I'll tell you, typically a 15 to 20-minute speech about leadership from the vice commander of 20th Air Force is something we impose as punishment on airmen when they show up in the wrong uniform or they're late to work. So I thought it was curious that she wanted me to speak today. But I sat down and I reflected back on my 27-year career in the Air Force so far about what sort of leadership lessons and things I could tease out of that, maybe share with you today. And I asked a friend and mentor of mine how I should go about this. And he said, oh, it doesn't matter what you say, just make it fast and funny. So I can make it fast, up to you whether you think any of it's funny. Okay, so in the interest of making sure you knew where we were in the speech and how soon it might be over, I decided to do a top 10 list a la David Letterman. Okay, so I'm going to count them down and you'll know how close we are to the end. In case you need to go to the restroom or something like that. Okay, so here are my top 10 leadership tips. All right, number 10, check your ego at the door. So you're going to make 1,000 decisions as a leader every day, and you're statistically going to make some mistakes. And don't be afraid to say you're sorry and admit that you made a mistake. So story time real quick. When I was a squadron commander, brand new squadron commander, I wanted to appear decisive, right? So everybody's a little intimidated when you move into a new leadership role. It's natural. None of us admit it, but it's true. And I was asked a question about how I wanted to do something operationally, and I made kind of a snap decision. And it was a bad decision. I didn't have all the information. I didn't work through all of the ramifications of that decision. And it was pretty obvious pretty early on that I had not made the right call. Well, if any of you know anyone under, say, the age of 30, they like to ask questions, right? And they like to have a lot of information. And it's not the Air Force today is not the Air Force that it was when I came in, but it's better for it. And airmen are going to ask you and challenge you a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. So we had a commander's call, all the squadrons in the room, and airmen in the back. Typically, in a commander's call, we do a little training, we talk about some things. And then usually there's sort of an open floor. Anybody got any questions or anything they want to hurtle at the commander, any criticisms or questions? So airman in the back of my squadron, in the back of the room, stood up. Today, I got a question. He asked me about this poor decision that I made. And I was sort of put on the spot. And I could tell from his tone that he didn't think a lot of the decision that I had made. And it had some negative ramifications, in fairness to him and his family as well. It affected their schedule. And so I had to make a decision, right? So one decision would have been to deflect the question and not answer it directly. Another one might have been, hey, I don't like your tone, right? So I could have gone that direction and shut down the conversation. But I decided on the spot to kind of own the mistake. I said, listen, I just made a bad decision, okay? I've reversed it since then. I'm sorry. Sorry I made that mistake. And it had a second order effect that I didn't anticipate. And that was that it kind of relieved the pressure on all of us, right? So as a new commander, they were new, and we were maintaining this facade of perfection. And none of us are perfect, right? So as soon as I admitted that I was fallible and could make mistakes and that I had regret for that, then that gave them permission to make mistakes and be human beings as well, right? So just don't be afraid to own it and anticipate and prepare and think through how you're going to deal with the bad decisions you're going to inevitably make and how you're going to recover from that. Okay, number 9, emphasize the team. You're accountable as a leader for failure, but your team has success, right? So leadership's not about you or your fancy parking spot or your corner office or your fancy title. It's about building teams to do amazing work and get things done. So everything else is queep. And for those of you who don't know what queep is, it's a military term for everything insignificant that gets in the way of getting the mission done, right? So don't fall for that. Keep your focus and make sure that you're emphasizing the team, building the team up. Okay. Number 8, leadership's a contact sport. So we talked about this a little bit, right? And this has become particularly evident in the last year or so, year and a half, because we've come up with all these great technological tools where we can meet remotely and you can telework, and you never actually have to be in the physical presence of the people that you work with, right, to get the job done. And I would say, make sure you're leveraging those tools. They're going to be around and they're going to be part of our lives going forward. But don't forget that being in the physical presence of the people that you work with and that you lead is absolutely critical. Picking up on those cues, that body language, the eye contact, getting a sense of them and them getting a sense of you is really, really important to that relationship. So you can't lead by email, you can't lead by Zoom or teleconference, but you have to develop those skills so you can do that in person. So again, leadership context. Follow through and shoot straight. So you got to tell the truth. You got to do what you say you're going to do. There's a little cowboy ethics in here, I think. And every single time. So here's the pitfall. And most of these tips that I'm sharing with you, I learned through failure, right? Not through great success. So, but here's one. So for a couple of years when I was the wing vice commander, we had a building on the base that used to have a Burger King in it. It was empty, right? And one of the privileges of being the vice commander, I know Colonel Conowitz gets to do, is you get to go speak to brand new airmen that show up at the base. They're fresh out of tech school. They've not been in the Air Force very long. And their first contact with wing leadership is you, right? So you have a little bit of a spiel that you give them. You talk about expectations and what the Air Force is like and what the area is like. And usually talk up China for 2 days. One of the things I would do. So inevitably, at the end of these little conversations we'd have, someone would shoot their hand up and they'd go, hey, you know, when are we going to get something in that old Burger King building, right? And for about 2 years, I didn't have a good answer to them. We were trying to get something in there. We didn't have a good answer. It was unsatisfying. Well, finally, we reached an agreement where we got a Baskin Robbins and a Dunkin' Donuts into that building, right? And so the next time, I was just looking forward to going to the next meeting with these airmen because I knew they were going to ask the question. I finally had a good answer for them. So one of the airmen shoots his hand up inevitably and says, hey, what are we doing about this building? When are we going to get something in there? I said, well, great news. So we just reached an agreement to put a Dunkin' Donuts and a Baskin Robbins. So they were elated, and you know that was a great answer. I was a rock star and a hero for having that answer. So I bounce out of the room, you know, feeling pretty good about myself. About 2 days later, I'm in the base exchange. And one of the airmen that was in that meeting walks up to me, puts his hand on my arm, and says, "Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Well, sure. What's on your mind?" He says, "You remember a couple of days ago, you said there was going to be a Dunkin' Donuts and a Baskin Robbins and Burger King." I said, "Yeah, I don't remember." It's like, "Well, on my way over here to the BX, I drove by there. There's no Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins in the building." And so I realized my failure to communicate, right? Which was, hey, first of all, colonels don't have as much power as you might think they have, to include magical powers. And number two, there's a timeline associated with standing up something like a Dunkin' Donuts. So when you set expectations for your folks, make sure you're communicating clearly. Otherwise, they won't think you're following through. Number 6, be self-aware. Know thyself, right? There's a lot of ways to do this. You can take personality tests online. You can do a 360 feedback, if any of you have heard about that, or even just get feedback from a mentor of yours about, you know, what kind of blind spots do I have? Where do I need to, what things do I need to work on? But you have to understand what you're good at and what you're not good at, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And I know this is going to shock some of you in this room, but I'm not much of a hugger. I'm not an emotional guy, right? So something I know about myself, I have to work on, and it's absolutely key that you be able to connect with the folks that you work with on an emotional level, and that you're able to be a human being. We are not robots, right? So it's easy for us to get very focused on the task at hand and forget the human element of working together. All of us have our strengths and weaknesses. It's why we build teams. And those teams, if they're put together properly, they're complementary. You have people that make up for your strengths and weaknesses. So as a guy who's been a vice commander a few times, the number 2 guy, the backup option, the second string guy, I have to know how to fill those gaps in for my boss, right? What is my boss good at? What is my boss not good at? And figure out how to complement him or her in what they're trying to get done. So self-awareness is absolutely key. It's the first thing you've got to do to be an effective leader. All right, number 5, halfway through. Lead authentically. You can't be somebody you aren't, right? So once you know yourself, then you have to be the kind of leader you can be. You can't be the kind of leader somebody else is. So I would see folks who were very charismatic leaders who had all these tools that I didn't have, and I wish I could lead like that person, but I'm not them, and I can't lead that way. I can only lead the way that I can lead. You can add tools into your toolkit, but you have to lead authentically. I think we've all had that boss where you walked into work one day and your boss walks in, someone you've worked with quite a bit. Suddenly she's dropping buzzwords like, synergy and, low hanging fruit or new normal or whatever the latest buzzword is, right? And you're like, she's definitely been reading a management book somewhere. I'm pretty sure, right? And you just see right through it, don't you? In about 2 seconds, you're like, this is just not who this person is, right? And I appreciate, we all appreciate when leaders are trying to get better, but you have to be true to yourself and lead in the way that you lead. Okay, number 4, take risks and tolerate failure. So if you're a leader who won't take risks, you're holding your organization back. Fundamentally, leaders take risks, right? Calculated risks, hopefully. But sometimes those risks don't pay off, right? You miscalculate or something unanticipated happens and your team fails. And that's really where you get tested as a leader. Easy to lead a team that wins all the time, right? Easy to be the captain of the, LA Lakers when they're winning, but harder to be the captain of a team that loses all the time. So, or loses regularly. And how you react to failure in your team is really the hallmark of you as a leader. So you really have a couple of paths to take, and we've all seen leaders who have taken these 2 paths. So when there's failure, you have the leader that does some finger pointing, right? There's a blame game that happens, and man, does that leg sweep the morale of that team. But you also have leaders that go, okay, they dust the team off. They help whoever needs help. If somebody has fallen down on the job, they find a way to get them what they need to be better at what they're doing. And then they move forward, right? And they learn. And so absolutely critical to think through ahead of time as a leader, how you're going to handle failure, right? You don't want to get blindsided with failure and then react emotionally and do irreparable harm to the culture of your team. Number 3, expand your toolkit. So I just made fun of management books, and I'm not a huge fan, but I do think there's some good stuff out there that you can reach into. But I do think that experience is the best teacher here. So you're going to be engaging with folks who, in a lot of different situations, a lot of different people. And there's a saying that if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's absolutely true. You better have a few more tools in the toolkit or you're not going to be effective, right? So you've got folks that need a coaching, mentoring approach. There's other people who are inherently self-accountable and hard on themselves. You don't need to say much to those folks most of the time. They're going to be a lot harder on themselves than you're going to be. But you have to know your people. You have to understand the situation. You have to apply the right tool for the job. So make sure you've got, when you look in your toolkit, you don't just see a hammer. Number 2, act ethically and morally. There's no special rules for you as a leader. There's no special privileges. As a matter of fact, the toughest job on the team is to be the leader. It's the one where you have to sacrifice the most, right? So we talked earlier about, it's not about parking spaces and titles. It's really about the servant leadership that was mentioned earlier. So the way I sum up servant leadership in 3 words is leaders eat last, right? It's a military principle. As a commander, you feed your squadron, your unit before you eat, right? Because it's fundamentally your responsibility to make sure they're taken care of and they have what they need before you take care of yourself, right? That's inherently what I see as servant leadership. And being ethical and moral in all things, impeccably ethical and moral, it builds your credibility with your folks. So if you're always telling the truth and you're always playing this straight, then they'll trust you when you have to give them hard news, which is another one of the fun aspects of being a leader. It's hard news. And the last thing, the accountants got on this way ahead of me. You got to have fun, right? Fundamentally, you got to have fun. What are we doing here? Like, there are hard things you're going to do as a team, and you're going to have to work through some stuff. But if you're not having a good time and yucking it up once in a while and making fun of yourself and having a good time, then your folks aren't having a good time either. So as a leader, you got to create an atmosphere where you can depressurize a little bit. Right? It can't be all business all the time. Nobody wants to go to work or go to an organization or volunteer or work with a nonprofit that's doom and gloom all the time, right? So you got to keep it light and fun. It's fundamental to it. All right, so that's my top 10 list. And you guys made it through that. I'd like to wrap it up a little bit with a few thoughts about what I think could be next. And some of you in this room can talk to this way better than me. There are a lot of ways to lead and many different roles you can play in this community. Find the opportunities that appeal to you and take a chance. We're all a little intimidated by new experiences and responsibilities, but that's part of personal growth, is getting out of your comfort zone, jumping in and doing something new. I will tell you this, one thing you get from moving around a lot, and I'm a military brat as well, so moved 13 times as a kid, 12 times or so in my active duty career. So you name it, I probably lived nearby someplace in the United States or overseas. You get to see a lot of different communities and how they operate. And Cheyenne is special. There's a reason we bought a house here and we're going to stay here. And what's special about Cheyenne is you can make a real difference here. This is not a large town, right? So I went to high school and college in Ohio. Towns of 60,000 or so are scattered across the landscape, but they don't have the impact, they don't have the opportunities that you see in a town like Cheyenne. And I love Ohio, but this place is different, fundamentally different. And that's why we stayed here. We think we can make a difference, right? And we can get engaged, and we can do things that can help Cheyenne evolve and move forward. And being able to make a difference is really, really, really important. More important than wind or snow. Okay. And when I look around this community, I see leaders like that all the time. And the military gets a lot of credit for focusing on leadership and training leadership and developing leadership concepts and leaders. And I think we do a very good job of that within certain contexts. But what I see is a different kind of leadership in the community, right? And it's a little late to tell you this, Dale, but you really have the wrong Dillo giving this speech tonight or today, this afternoon. I'm going to brag on my wife a little bit, and I'm probably going to pay for it later. But so Elizabeth, she's been a military spouse, really difficult for her to get involved in the community. We're moving like every year sometimes. So once we get back here in 16, she really spreads her roots. Small business owner, member of the chamber here, Cheyenne Frontier Days volunteer, president of Laramie County Library Board, key player in the First Lady's Wyoming Hunger Initiative, on and on and on. She's a great mother. She's a tolerant but exasperated wife. Okay. But she's a leader in this community, right? So I'm the one giving the speech, but I'll tell you that she exercises leadership every single day in about 100 different ways that I'm never asked to do. And so I see leaders like Elizabeth all across this room, all across this community, and it's what makes it tick and what makes it different. The opportunities here are absolutely amazing. So Leadership Cheyenne, absolutely fantastic opportunity. Now take what you learned there and make this place better. I know you can. Okay, I'd like to thank you all for tolerating my top 10 list and my time here. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules today to honor the graduates of Leadership Cheyenne and come together, and appreciate it. Thank you.
Great speech, and I will go home and throw away all of the business mentor books. I just, no synergy here for sure. So perfect. So thanks again, Colonel Dillo. We definitely appreciate you and your leadership. Today we will celebrate the leadership class on their completion of a challenging and thought-provoking year. I know it's been difficult for a lot, and as Dale said earlier, Cheyenne's been very resilient during these COVID times. So very grateful for that. So with the conclusion of Cheyenne Leadership Cheyenne, it's a part of the personal journey. This program is designed to inspire and desire a lifelong commitment for civic trusteeship. And we hope it's just the beginning for this graduating class. So as we move to the presentation of our Leadership Cheyenne graduates, I'd like to take a moment and ask the leadership alumni that are in the room today to stand and be recognized. So for those of you who did not stand, we do have a class coming up. So now's your time to shine. So, civic leadership is an important piece of our community, and we need some more leaders to step up. So we do appreciate the alumni. I would also like to ask the Leadership Cheyenne Steering Committee, if they're here and they can stand, you recognized? These volunteers give generously of their time to make sure that the Leadership Cheyenne program is running smoothly, and we definitely appreciate all that they do. Now I'd like to introduce Rick Rodham and Molly Bennett from this year's class. They've been selected to say a few words about what's coming up for this next year, Boo Ball, and if everybody would like to give them a nice warm welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Rick Rodham. I'm the marketing director for Fat Boys Tire and Auto. And it's my honor to speak on behalf of the Leadership Cheyenne class of 2021 today. This year's class is a collection of 26 civic-minded professionals. We represent different industries. We come from different walks of life. Many of us were born and raised here in Cheyenne. Some of us came here for professional opportunities. Some of us came here just for a better quality of life. As divergent as our backgrounds are, we all have one thing in common, and that is we are proud to call Cheyenne, Wyoming our home, and we want to make our community an even better place to live. And that's the hallmark of every great city. The people who live there and the people who come there change a city. And in turn, that city changes them. And I know I speak on behalf of many of my classmates when I say that Cheyenne has changed me for the better. And we're all here to help make our hometown an even better place. Over the past year, our class has learned about the many different industries, agencies, and most importantly, the people who make Cheyenne what it is. Our agricultural and ranching community, our healthcare professionals, teachers and educators, local and state government leaders, the ambassadors who promote our city, help our local businesses thrive, and of course, the hometown heroes who protect and serve our community in law enforcement and in the military. Our class has seen the volunteer spirit that makes Cheyenne Frontier Days the daddy of them all. And we've marveled at the sacrifice and compassion of the people who operate our local nonprofit organizations. They're the Good Samaritans who act as advocates for the most vulnerable members of our community. And as much as we've learned from those people, I can speak from my experience. I've learned the most from my classmates. Like all of us, the COVID epidemic has forced our class to adapt, to be more flexible, and ultimately to be more resourceful. But we've also worked together, and I think this is an important point I want to make. During a time of unprecedented political division in our country, while people are fighting each other, I am proud to say that every person in this class has demonstrated professionalism, courtesy, and kindness at every turn. We've respected different points of view on many different subjects, and although we don't always agree, this class has done an incredible job listening to each other and learning from each other. And in my view, listening and learning is what leadership is all about. And while today marks our graduation from the Leadership Cheyenne program, our work is just beginning. Once again this year, we will present the annual Boo Ball Halloween fundraiser. And here to tell us all about it is my classmate. Please welcome Molly Bennett.
Thank you all so much. Way to go, Rick. That was awesome. Way to go. So first, I want to say thank you so much for being here and celebrating this exciting day with us. It's great to have you all here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Boo Ball 2021, and then we can keep things moving. So our theme this year is Masquerade, which is going to be really exciting. And our date is October 23rd, 2021 at the Blue Community Event Center. So on your tables, there is actually a sponsorship matrix. Feel free to check that out. We would love to secure you as a sponsor if you're not already. If you have any questions, please find one of our lovely Best Class Ever members, and we'll be able to help you and get you secured as one of our sponsors for this year. A couple notes that we have already in the works. So one of our classmates, way to go, Esther, has been able to secure a Stag 15 right-handed 16-inch tactical rifle. And it's been donated by Stag Arms here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. They're actually going to do a custom design for us for Cheyenne Leadership 2021. Raffle tickets will be available by the end of June through one of our class members. They're going to be 1 for $20 or 6 for $100. So please hit us up for those. We're really excited. The other thing, first Wednesday of the month is pizza night to support 2021 Boo Ball. 20% of that purchase through Papa Murphy's will benefit the Boo Ball this year. So order online and enter code VICTORY at checkout. So there you have it. There's some updates for what we got going on. We're really excited. So now the fun work begins, right? Right? Okay. So now I'm going to invite James Patterson up. He's going to speak a little bit and I'm going to go get mine.
Hi, my name's James Peterson. I'm this year's steering committee chair for the class of 2020-2021. As you can see, I work for the Cheyenne Police Department. We don't always see the best part of the community in our day-to-day work. So I wanted to get involved with a more positive aspect of our community. I applied for leadership Cheyenne in 2016 and was a member of the 2016-2017 class. Since I began leadership Cheyenne, I've been amazed at the spirit and the dedication shown by the class members year after year. Their desire to help their fellow citizens and to better the Cheyenne community. There's never a lack of motivation to push harder on a beautification project or to provide their fellow classmates with a better class experience. Every class wants to be better than the last. So, and then COVID entered the picture. So we had to move some classes to a virtual format, delay others since it was only going to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And then we were forced to cancel some of the most exciting classes, such as Military Day. So in the spring of 2020, as the incoming steering committee chair, I wondered if anyone would apply for the program during a pandemic. We ended up with a great pool of applicants that became this year's class. They come from a wide range of backgrounds. We have private industry, we have government employees, and those from the nonprofit sectors. We've had several people receive promotions at work over the last year. Others have changed jobs and are chasing their goals and dreams. With all the changes in the world during a pandemic and all the changes in their personal lives and the struggle of planning not just one class, but two, just in case we had to go virtual again, on top of figuring out how to plan and host a fundraiser, they've remained extremely positive. So they've remained positive about the opportunity Cheyenne holds for them and how they plan to make Cheyenne a better place for everyone. They've also grown together to become a cohesive group, and they've grown as leaders within the community. So I cannot be prouder of what they have been able to accomplish over the last year and what they will accomplish over the next few months as they host the Boo Ball and continue with the tradition of making Cheyenne a better place to live. Thank you. The first graduate is Taylor Albert. Morgan Amberson. Carolyn Ammon. Asha Bean. Molly Bennett. Jaden Burton. David Cook. Nicole Dombraska. Esther Gonzalez. Brooks Harris. Denise Hondell. Tracy Igo. Jamie Liberty. Marina Malatesta. Lisa Manny. Timothy Morton. Donna Pena. Rocky Red. Rick Rodham. Kenna Roder. Andrea Bayos. Adam Waddell. Meredith Wood. Andy Warshak.
It's a good looking group of people and one really, really tall guy. Perfect. I wanted to thank Mayor Patrick Collins for being here and helping us with that. It's always good to see you in the community, Mayor. Wanted to give everybody a big thank you for being here today, showing up and supporting the chamber and supporting Leadership Cheyenne as well. Don't forget, for all of you that did not stand as an alumni, there is a chance and an opportunity. So sign up. We need you. Next month, we'll kick off Cheyenne Frontier Days, Partners in Prosperity luncheon on July 23rd. And I believe that's all that I have, unless there's something I'm missing. Perfect. Well, thank you guys again for being here. We appreciate it and look forward to seeing everybody next month.